Ba, ba, ba. Hey guys, we are live and welcome to episode 3 of the weekly. And of course, your usual hosts are here, Mr. Juan Bagnell from Pocket Now. How's it going, man?
Hey, I got my coffee. I'm happy.
All right. And of course, Mr. Warren Bowman.
Hey, all right, thumbs up. Let's do this.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, Sam may or may not. He may or may not show up because Sam is traveling today. So we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, let us. What is that, Juan? Your picture went all.
Oh man, again.
Oh, all right. So
yeah. So we had this problem on the Pocket Now podcast. Like nothing has changed. I don't know what's going on with my freaking setup. The video is just gonna be wonky. Sorry, guys.
No, it's all right. All right, let's kick things off. We just added our uselessness of the week, and we have 2. And this has to deal with...
Is one of the uselessnesses Google Hangouts? Because it's really chapping my ass these days.
That's like a perpetual stamp of uselessness. How about we just do that like that right there? Google Hangouts. If you're listening to the podcast, Google Hangouts always has issues. And oh, by the way, we are now on Google Play Podcast. We are still trying to get to... iTunes podcast, which will hopefully be up there by the end of this week. But if you want to listen to this on the road, you can now download the podcast and all that fun stuff.
Right on.
Cool. So start off with the uselessness of the week. We have 2, and they both pertain to some executive orders that the president signed this week. And we're going to concentrate on how it affects, individuals and businesses, because we don't want to get too much into politics. But the first one was I think sometime in the middle of the week, where the president signed an executive order stripping non-citizens of privacy rights. Now, the problem where that lays is that if you are a business or even a foreign national who wants to do business in the US, you have no privacy rights. Why would you want to do business in this country? Let's just put it that way.
Well, and literally, how can you do business in this country? So much of what these industries depend on is some amount of discretion.
Yeah.
So, you're walking into a climate where that basic sort of liberty is going to be stripped from you because of your difference to the rest of the population. And that makes you far less competitive from a business standpoint.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Just a quick note, the article I'm sourcing for you guys is from Engadget, and they have an update from the EU, which is the EU just trying to address this to its citizens. And this is what the EU says. We are aware of the executive orders on public safety. The US Privacy Act has never offered data protection rights to Europeans. The Commission negotiated 2 additional instruments to ensure that EU citizens' data is duly protected when transferred to the US. The EU/US Privacy Shield, which does not rely on the protections under the Privacy Act of the US. The EU-US Umbrella Agreement, which entered into force in February 1st. To finalize this agreement, the US Congress adopted a new law last year, the US Judicial Addresses Act, that extends benefits of the US to European countries. So if you're in the EU, sounds like you're okay. For everybody else, no.
Everyone else,
like everyone on the planet, including Canada, which is one of our second largest trading partner. Remember, Mexico is our third,
and England soon.
Yeah. How do we think that there will be a substantive? I can't say that word. I've tried like 3 times now on these like previous podcasts. Do you think there will be a relationship or a partnership of any substance between the current conservative leadership in Great Britain and Trump's?
Well, I'll put it this way, just from political history, it takes roughly 4 years to hammer out an agreement, a bilateral agreement, just minimum 4 years. So there may not be anything by the time the next election rolls through. So we don't know how that flows. There will be a lot of rhetoric, there will be a lot of talk, there will be a lot of positive vibes. So, markets will like that, at least in those 2 countries when it pertains to that. And businesses will try and work and flow on that aspect. UK businesses, American businesses, as they do businesses together. So on that aspect, yes. But the Privacy Act thing really hammers down the fact that it's also dangerous. It becomes really dangerous think about it on a business scale. We're going to talk about Google next and how they responded to another executive order. But if Google was trying to do something new and innovative and was doing it through a third-party company or a startup, say from Israel, another U.S. partner that is not covered here, but let's just say that, and that third-party partner came to the U.S., whatever information he brought is prior to being there's no Privacy Act coverage whatsoever at all. So just on a business sense, it's very damaging that your stuff is now, there's no protections on the law for what you're doing with somebody else, which you're trying to actually, improve your business. And of course,
and I'm sure companies can still try to protect that IP, but they don't have any sort of authority or backing from the government to protect that IP.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Anything else you want to add to that, Warren, or we can move to the next one?
No, we could just move on to the next topic.
All right. The next one, this pertains towards the executive order signed yesterday, which banned, let me read it properly before I actually misstate stuff, just because of of the complexities of all these things. But basically, it put a ban on refugees coming in from certain countries, mostly Muslim predominant countries, except Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and a few others like that.
Biggest oil reserve area. But where the Olympics are being held. I mean, excuse me, where the World Cup's being held and all that fucking controversy around that. Oh, interesting that they didn't get banned.
But that also, the problem with that executive order is that it also stems to people now who have green cards. And Google, yesterday, Google's CEO, who of course is an immigrant himself.
That dirty brown person.
Along with the CEO of Microsoft too.
Yes, yep. I know, right? So who basically put in an order saying that, look, all Google employees need to come back, is now finding it hard that some of the employees cannot come back, especially from the countries. So the countries stated are Iran, Sudan, Syria, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, and Yemen. Now, I have seen, this is one thing I want to post. I've seen something that a lot of people are talking about here in different other tech sites, as well as even just news agencies talking about, you are now allowing these people, not saying the people who work for Google specifically, but people who are smart enough, especially in these industries, to get pissed, to not necessarily be radicalized, but to be sympathetic to people who actually hate us. And and because you're gonna have situations where some people now cannot come back home. Maybe they still have family here, or they have family members who've traveled and cannot come back. And this affects business all the way through. So Google is trying to correlate. From what I'm seeing here is that, they told employees to contact the Google Immigration Services. They might take them to other countries where at least they can be safe, work, and at least be situated. I mean, the one thing I have to applaud is at least companies like Google, who are forward thinking and thinking about the employees in this light, is heartwarming, because, you could just be stuck somewhere, literally be stuck in a country that, because these people are flying from, they're not necessarily flying from their countries of original origin. They could be coming from, say, Japan, and the guy's from Iran, and he can't come in, and now he has to go back, because basically they fly you back to where you came from. So
I mean, like think about just that phrase right there, like the notion of American diplomacy being send you back to where you came from. I mean, like, it is such a simple mindset to establish that. We're looking at the ramifications on various tech industries. We mentioned, the CEOs of Microsoft and of Google, but even like the founders of Google, like I don't think Sergey Brin was born in this country, right?
No.
In this this notion of looking tough, saying tough things, kind of being a bully. I guess on paper, in a two sentence or a tweet synopsis of what foreign policy should look like or immigration policy should look like, it's completely discounting the humongous and far-reaching ramifications of how this is going to affect nearly every aspect of the types of businesses that are supposed to grow America's economy and make America a stronger player on the world stage. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Definitely agree. Warren?
All I have to say is the biggest contributor to job loss is also the biggest contributor to job growth, and it's called innovation and technology. That is undefeated in making jobs and beating jobs. Nothing else changes that. So if everyone thinks that this is all going to be geared towards bringing back jobs to America, America has never brought back jobs ever. Ever. Go look in our history. We've never brought anything back. We just create something new. And that's what's just going to happen again. Even if we want to try and do these really silly rules and make all these executive orders and other thing like that, it's just like preventing the inevitable from happening. So I don't know. It's just going to be interesting. Of 4 years of people lost learning the hard way. That's all I have to say. A lot of learning the hard way. It's going to be very interesting.
And the frustrating aspect of this is that we shouldn't have to. I mean,
we should, because we don't pay attention.
No, but that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean.
This is what happens when you don't vote.
A basic education in U.S. history, let alone world history, we would be better prepared to not repeat some of these mistakes that we made, say, circa World War II. So it's just humongously frustrating because, again, it's a very emotional and complex issue. But I think right now emotions are still sort of ruling the decision-making process, not any type of rationale. We're going back and we're rationalizing these decisions, but these decisions are not being made from a standpoint of well-nuanced understanding and education.
No, they're not at all. And it'll just you gotta let things happen. You gotta let people fall on their face. America got fall on its face. We haven't fallen on our face in a while. Gotta let it happen. This has probably been building up over the last 30 years.
Is this America's market correction now happening live?
We got to take a quick L first before it clicks in our head that we're onto a good thing and we need to push it a little bit further and with some common sense to go along with it.
Let's get Sam into this. So we're talking about.
Oh boy, here goes Sam.
So it's basically in our useless category, two things. The first one is the president signing the order on basically stripping privacy protection from non-citizens and how that applies to businesses. Now the EU did release a statement saying that their citizens are covered because they signed the second agreement, which doesn't apply to the first one sometime last year. And then the second also is basically reacting to Trump's immigration ban yesterday, pertaining to how Google is dealing with this as their CEO is trying to recall employees back. And also we should mention Facebook also mentioned stuff about this. He didn't go into detail. He just rebuked the president's immigration policy that he signed yesterday. So your thoughts on this, Sam?
Well, I'm going to try to be PC about this. We're in an atmosphere right now of uncertainty, and uncertainty is bad for markets. So if you remember at the end of last year when he won, the markets were had a really good uptick with the whole idea that the market, he was going to institute all these new laws and rules that were supposed to help the market. And then when the market figured out that he really didn't have a plan, come January, after his first speech, the market kind of tried to do that correction, right? So there's a lot of uncertainty right now.
And now we're at the 20K. And not to interrupt you, but me and you work sort of in somewhere in finances. We're in that sector. This is the quietest I've ever seen people on the Dow hitting a record ever. Yes. And
the news media was actually more excited than
they were more excited
in the industry.
And so, it's just completely quiet
because no one knows what's going to happen. And then you now tackle this with now basically limiting the employment bucket that people can actually go, the talent bucket. So what happens, right? If you are a competitor to a Facebook, to a Google, to any of the American companies who actually has been dipping into this pool of global talent. You're now left with a wider pool of talent to dip into than the United States has. This is a limitation on the availability of talented people to the United States.
But that's all about bringing the jobs back to America.
It's not just about giving jobs to Americans. It's about finding the best and the brightest in the world.
That we're not educated for these jobs, which is the best part. We're not educated
even about
for these
being
jobs.
educated for this job. It's between now, let's put it this way. Let's assume that in 2020, every single American will be educated enough to basically handle any job that the Facebook and the Google control. Between now and 2020, what do we do? Do we sit down and watch for all of them to start getting educated? Or do we take still the best and the brightest to come to this country and give us that stopgap? You can't do things like this unilaterally.
Well, in your scenario, to argue a little bit in your scenario, if we had that happen, there would be more people that would have the self-initiative to start their own businesses themselves.
Yep, no,
they wouldn't wait for that.
Well, you see, that's the thing, right?
That would actually help things.
You say people are going to start these businesses themselves. As we've already said a bunch of times on this show, a lot of businesses that have started now are built on the framework of the Facebooks, the Googles of the world. So how do you start your own business when the pure foundation where you're going to start your business, where the internet, where you're going to start your business, where the people who maintain these services are not the best and the brightest that we can get? And that becomes a problem. It's not just about American talent and American jobs. It's basically being able to dip your hands into the pool of the best and the brightest all over the world.
But also doesn't guarantee that the best and the brightest are the ones that are going to be successful.
No, it does not.
It's a higher chance, but it doesn't guarantee it.
All right, let's look at the companies, right, that I just mentioned. Facebook, Google, Apple, right? Up until
even Microsoft.
Even Microsoft.
Microsoft did it for years.
Apart from Tim Cook, who took over from Steve Jobs. Let's look at all those CEOs, and they are all either immigrants or the descendants of immigrants. Steve Jobs' father was an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
CEO of Google, I'm sorry, immigrants. CEO of Alphabet, immigrants. Okay. Facebook, Zuckerberg. You look at Microsoft. So let's actually ask ourselves this question: who on earth are we targeting? If not ourselves, then really who are we targeting with these laws? And I think it really limits the pool. Like, this is the thing that really gets at me, right? If you are going to make laws, apply it equally to everyone, right? And we have rules right now that are not being applied equally, that are picking and choosing, that are saying we're going to stop people from this certain country with certain majorities from coming in. Now, what you're doing is literally saying that we no longer want to be competitive in an ideological or technological way in those countries because we're now abandoning the pool of talent in those countries. And I'm just looking at it right now from an employer point of view, but there's a whole lot of other social economic factors that come into this as well, and also political factors. But to keep it PC, I'm just going to go with that one.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Because this discussion can go into many depths. I was about to throw something in there, and I realized I had to do with World War II, so skip.
Let me put it this way. Go out and see what was going on around the world around the time that World War II started, and then tell me if you're not scared of what's going on in the world right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway. Thank you for that very sobering note, Sam. Let us move on to some other things. Samsung, this past weekend, last Sunday, released information on the Galaxy Note 7, exactly what happened with its battery. Samsung gave a really impressive press event. They showcased their dedication in the fact that they had 200,000 Galaxy Notes for testing. They had 700 dedicated employees. They had a separate testing center to find out what was going on with this. Now, some people have said Samsung is trying to pass the blame on the battery, but if you look into the details, yes, it is the battery. We've always known that, but there were specific things that were wrong. Second half, of course, there were two battery issues. The first one, Juan, if you can correct me, it was basically the battery build itself on the first one, if I'm mistaken.
Well, I mean, so both of them, again, we'd have to go as deep into the weeds as they did. So did the live stream get pulled? Because I went to go and try and watch the video again before we went to talk about this, and it was offline when I tried to find it.
Same here. I couldn't find it yesterday.
If you can, try and dig it back up, because Samsung, it was an impressive amount of detail that Samsung went into to explain their investigation and their process for trying to determine what went wrong. But again, and I'm doing a very sort of overly simplified way of explaining this, but basically the initial design, part of the casing and part of the internals were shaped to fit a part of the phone too specific,
too snug,
in a way that was too snug. So that caused a certain type of potential failure. Then the response to that, in how these different pieces were supposed to be put into alignment, actually caused the opposite problem. So in trying to correct the problem of the first battery, the second battery created a new issue, which also could have resulted in a catastrophic failure or an explosive failure of the chemicals inside for this energy density. At the same time, still the common knowledge of there being too much stuff inside this form factor, inside this volume, also played a role in how heat was managed, in how battery capacity battery expansion and component expansion was managed. And then also, one of the things that we got wrong at Pocket Now is that there didn't seem to be a systemic failure of software. It was more that these hardware issues weren't properly communicating with the phone and the phone's management software to negate or to minimize some of the effects of this basically systemic design flaw of how the Note was ultimately constructed.
Yeah, and to those who were saying if you had a removable battery, would it have fixed the issue?
No, it wouldn't have.
No, I actually think it would have.
It would have, because
if you have a removable battery, you've got extra plastic and guard on that battery. The battery in any phone which has a sealed battery is just a pouch. Again, I'm going to take it back to there's a research firm in Singapore, AEN Hub. And they conducted a test on an older phone with a removable battery and a newer phone with an internal battery, and it took substantially less pressure to puncture the battery on the phone with an internal battery. And because of the higher energy density, the resulting chemical reaction was more substantial. Yeah. So again, a removable battery would have negated some of these problems, just because you have to make a removable lithium ion cell better guarded, better protected than the way that we build it into a normal phone. If you crack open, a Huawei right now, you're not going to see the terminals and the contacts and those plastic ridges and the end caps and all that stuff that you put on a battery. You're just going to see a pouch full of energy density chemical stuff. And if that pouch gets ruptured, and I know a lot of people have been saying, oh no, the Note 7 didn't explode, it just burned really fast. That's an explosive chemical process. If you puncture a battery cell, you're not going to see like clicking a lighter, where a lighter and you see a little flame pop out and it's controlled and you can use that fire to light cigarettes or other things. That's a controlled chemical burn. If you puncture the cell on a lithium ion cell, you're going to see an explosive reaction as stuff comes flying out of that. I don't even know why we're
arguing if it's explosive or not. It's basically contains space and generation of heat. People it's an explosion.
People are arguing this because I think they think it sounds better that the Note 7 didn't explode, and I think they're thinking like literally like it didn't explode like a hand grenade or a shrapnel bomb or something like that. But a Molotov cocktail is not a burning device; it's an explosion device.
Why I say it wouldn't have happened with it would have happened with a replaceable battery is that we would still have had batteries that had shipped out, and we would have had a lot of batteries out there in phones that were defective. So even if we could go ahead and replace this later on, it would have made the replacement easier, but it wouldn't have prevented this from happening.
It's a mixture of, again, you know, if you had that problem with a removable battery, because again, the build of the battery is totally different.
Yeah.
With,
If you had the issues that we had with the Note with a removable battery
issue entirely altogether.
Yeah, you would have had a fundamentally different design phone. So I mean, you're not wrong, Sam. Like if we had a removable battery that was exactly the same as the battery that was designed in the Note, you're right, we would still have had the same problem. But I don't think you could make a phone that way. I don't think you could make a phone with a removable battery in just a pouch.
Yeah, that part.
What I'm looking at here is, yes, it is the pouch, and it's because the pouch was jammed in there, right? So what I'm looking at here is like, if the battery was constructed the same way, right, and then it was made to fit in there, it still would have had bent electrodes at the end of the day. I really don't know if I don't think we can say one way or the other if having a removable battery would have prevented this.
Wait. It's time for us to time travel. Hold up. Let's go back. I'm just joking though. Anything you want to add, Warren? Everyone's like, my goodness.
No, I think that's pretty much sums everything up.
All right. This one, Sam will be happy. Just a quick note before we move to some S8 stuff. Samsung did say the Galaxy Note brand will be back. So stay tuned for that, probably around, I'm guessing October, November this time, because the Galaxy S8, which we're moving to, is not going to be showing up at MWC.
But they're saying there's going to be a release in March.
Around March 29 is when all the rumors are pointing to, which makes sense. And also, it looks like, and we'll talk about this with LG when we talk about LG, but Samsung is going to be hoarding a boatload of 835 chipsets.
Yeah, that's why no one can buy any. No one can buy any because Samsung has everything.
Well, Samsung is also fabbing the chipsets for Qualcomm. So
they made a deal with Qualcomm, right? I'm sorry, but this is okay. All right, so this is an asshole move, but this is an asshole move where you go, okay, asshole move, but yes, smart, you know.
Yeah. So this week, some leaked images from VentureBeats came out for the. Okay, let me share my screen. Let's do this properly here. Don't worry, guys. Whatever. So this is a leaked image of the Galaxy S8. As you can see clearly, in all happiness, that is a headphone jack, but that looks like a micro USB port, doesn't it, guys?
It kind of does, but it's also just at such a funky angle and blurry cam.
Yeah, it's a little blurry cam, funky angle, but that is a whole display. There is no more home button on this device.
That looks sexy, man. That's really nice.
No more home button, and you know, it looks like they're using that Qualcomm on-screen fingerprint sensor, which actually would be dope on this. Now, in terms of aspect ratio, they're saying this is a 18 by 5 by 9 aspect ratio, resolution 2960 by 1440. So I mean, it's still QHD display, but it's just got a slightly peculiar aspect ratio. You can see the heart rate sensor at the back is still there. Camera is a single camera module, and it looks like there is no flat screen variant. Thank you very much. We should stop that. So it's just going to be an S8 and S8 Plus on these devices. What do you guys think?
Well, I wanted to know what you guys thought of moving the fingerprint sensor to the back, because for some reason I thought Samsung.
No, that is not the fingerprint sensor.
That's the heart rate monitor.
That's the heart rate sensor. So is Samsung going to an under the screen?
Mm-hmm. That's what all the rumors are pointing to.
So, I mean, we had people on our podcast saying that wasn't true, and that additional section on the back of the phone was going to be the fingerprint sensor.
That would be kind of odd.
That's a very hard placement for a 6.2.
That's what I was going to say, is like, I thought that looked terrible in terms of usage, where I would just keep smudging up my camera.
Yeah, because you know where the flash is, you have a flash and you have another like sensor in there, like a
right.
Yeah.
But then on the opposite side, you've got that rectangular panel.
I think that is the heart rate monitor,
which is weird, because you would think a heart rate monitor shouldn't really be a big deal anymore. It's just, I don't know anyone.
Well, I mean, you look at like their current Samsungs, the flash and heart rate monitor, or that skinny rectangle, which looks like it's on the left of the camera.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
maybe it's a new sensor.
Well, then again, this could just be a prefab model where they have a cutout for potential fingerprint scanner. That's probably not going to go there, Because chances are having the fingerprint scanner there.
If you want to have a fingerprint scanner, it has to be pretty much right above that Samsung logo.
Yep.
That you see there, or even right where that logo is supposed to be, and then the logo drops lower.
Right.
Because, I mean, even though I have big hands, I'm not going to be looking for the far left-hand corner for this thing. Because if they do that, that is the biggest design flaw in an absolutely fabulous looking device.
Oh yeah, that device looks amazing. It just
I was gonna say, and I love rear-mounted fingerprint sensors, but there's no way I'm gonna.
You're stretching to the left. You're like, I mean, you'd be touching your camera module half the time.
Yeah, that's what we're
totally.
Yeah. So I hope they don't go with that.
So any word on the desktop aspect of it?
No word on. I mean, there's going to be desktop clients or mode that they have, but no word on what that is specifically. We do know, of course, it's going to have its own voice assistant on there. It is going to start at, rumors say it's going to start at 64 gigabytes, not 32.
Okay.
But then again, Samsung can subsidize that. They are memory king.
That's what I'm saying. Why not 128?
No, I was going to say, like, 64 is not really that big of a deal. I mean, we would expect them to catch up to where they were with the Note. And, I'm using a Huawei with 64 gig of built-in storage and a memory card. That's become the new high-end starting storage.
So I can definitely see that. I'm just hoping that's not the fingerprint sensor, because I'm like, man, you just wrecked the device.
Yeah, I'm really open to pre-production.
Well, because there are a number of things too. Like I think Samsung fans are going to have to kind of get used to having on-screen controls. There are a lot of people that like their hardware buttons and their capacitive buttons. What about the rumor that you guys have seen that the top of the screen, because of this funky aspect ratio, might be dedicated to some kind of like Samsung branding on the screen? Have you guys seen this?
No.
So EvLeak says that there's going to be a Samsung banner at the top of the screen, which is just always on. Like it's just always going to tell you that it's a Samsung phone.
No.
If you want to, if they want to make a phone that looks great, not sell, they should go ahead and do that.
That's what LG does.
No, but it's never that. I mean,
LG has a functional. I mean, whether or not you like the function, because it's a total gimmick, but I like the function of the ticker display. This would be just like in place of a logo, a Verizon tramp stamp on the front of the phone. It would be a part of the screen just to say Samsung.
That doesn't even sound like it makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Why would Samsung spend money on that?
Yeah, to me, you just mentioned two things now. Again, I'm just afraid that fingerprint sensor is there. I mean, that's just my concern now. Like,
it kills the aesthetic.
It just looks very hard. Like my mind can't wrap about it. I'm like, this is what I'm imagining people would be doing.
Lots of failing.
Yeah, exactly. So that is not even smart at all. I mean, heck, even putting on the fingerprint sensor on the button is much smarter than putting it right there. It is. But yeah, we'll see how that turns out March 29th. Hopefully, you're right. This might be a prefab, because looking at this again, that is a micro USB port straight up on this one here. And this one kind of looks like a USB-C, but this is micro USB. Anyway, let's move on to our good friends at LG. So LG, some leaked images of the new LG G6 hit this week. I'm just going to go ahead and share that again with careful precision. Fear not, we are still here. And this is what the G6 will look like. You have a front-facing
We just looked
camera.
at that phone. That's the S8. Stop lying.
Hey-o.
It's not curved. There is no curved display. Volume rockers on the left-hand side. You can see the antenna band there. You also have
now this is kind of ridiculous. This looks just like a Huawei. Like I'm looking. Sorry, I'm trying. I look dopey in front of my webcam, but I'm lining it up right with your image. This is my Huawei Nova, and it looks just like that. That's awesome.
I mean, the antenna band right there.
Yeah, well, and like the way that they're sort of doing the little jewel faucets in the aluminum on the side.
Yeah.
Oh no. LG.
So we're expecting a 2:1 aspect ratio, 5.7, 90% screen ratio, screen to bezel ratio. What do you think of this device in terms of what LG is bringing to it? Plus the fact that it looks like it's going to be powered by an 821 processor, most likely. at this point. Unless they launch after Samsung, that's the only way they can get an A35, which would be kind of useless. So, thoughts, Warren?
I'm just more interested in what specs are fine. I'm just more interested in them making a functional phone and good software in it and good quality camera and everything else. I'm more worried about all the other aspects of the phone and in the marketing of it more so than what it looks like. I think specs wise and everything that you see now should be a good functional phone for the beginning of the year. They'll be able to put out and they should be able to maybe push some units, but that's as long as if they advertise it and market it right, they get their issues with their software working properly and they still keep a good camera with it. So it's like cool LG, but you got all these other issues too that prevent me from getting so excited about it.
Okay. Sam, anything you want to add?
Yeah, list one phone that would not be having the what's it called, the 835. Oh yeah, that's the G6, right? So no.
Oh my god! No. Sorry. I have to do this. Sorry, I'm gonna have to cut off LG for a second. GSM Marina just posted this. This could be official renders, and that is a fingerprint sensor, man.
This is official. Oh, come on!
I told you.
Why?
Told you.
Well, it could be two fingerprint sensors. There could be one under the screen and then one in the back for whatever.
I seriously doubt, given what Samsung's going through right now, that they're going to duplicate functionality.
Okay. Let's just block the right image. The first image looks absolutely stunning. I mean, the one on the left. It looks
but even if you look at it now, you notice that there are 3 buttons on the right side: volume, rocker, and probably what replaces the home button.
No, the power button. Oh wait,
no, that's on the left side.
Volume down, and then a power button.
There are 4 buttons
on the active.
And the active.
Yeah, so they have a programmable button on the active. I'm assuming they're going to do something like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool with the programmable button. I'm fine with that. That's not an issue.
Probably be your.
I use that for camera stuff all the time. I love having that extra button,
which is fine. It is this.
Samsung, what are you doing?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is, okay, Qualcomm's tech was not ready, but why didn't you just put it right here?
Or, I mean, like under the camera, yeah.
Yeah, under the camera, just put it on.
Well, let's see what comes of this. Let's see what they'll say or what it is.
I'll put it this way, right? I can reach it on a Galaxy S7. On the Edge, I can still reach it, but that'll be fiddling. This is what I'm sorry.
After all, it's muscle memory that you have to.
Actually, they thought of it pretty well. If you think about it.
No! Look at that.
No. I'm not saying it's a good placement, but I'm saying at least they thought about it. They moved the flash over. They moved the flash to the other side of the camera, and then they put the sensor where the flash would normally be, which is where your hand would naturally.
No. Depends on if you switch hands. Now, if you're
a lefty, you're screwed. Sorry, lefties.
So
so. This is also, so Sam's not wrong. I think there was some thought that went into this, that on one side you have a fingerprint placement to get your heart rate. On the other side, you've got a fingerprint placement to unlock the device. But that's asymmetrical because you use those different fingerprint locations for very different functions. And so I'm trying to think, I'm holding my Mate 9. If I'm holding the phone the way that I would normally hold it for interacting, like trying to use this phone one-handed, the fingerprint sensor is perfectly where I need it to be. I have to move the phone to reach higher up. Again, Samsung has made the larger version of this phone in a way that it's not really going to work in my hands.
It's not going to work for you. It doesn't matter what size, because like you said, depends on one hand. So right now, like, I can do this easily on my left hand, but when I switch, I'm going here immediately. My finger's already going there.
That's where it looks as though
and then I would smudge my camera half the time.
You gotta until you get a feel for it.
Yeah. So it's not going to place properly, and
I wonder what the rate of just wrong fingerprint scans would be. Where you have this erroneous scans because the finger is not all the way up there. If that is markedly higher than what's currently on their devices, that would be a point of frustration for a lot of you.
No, it's going to be bad because, like you said, most of the studies and even the companies who first started putting fingerprint scanners at the back. Remember how we talked about with Motorola, right? The Motorola logo at the back was at the prime spot because you would hold the phone.
Yeah.
Because Motorola was one of the first person who brought it up without actually having put a fingerprint sensor. Said whenever you hold the phone, your hands are like this. Your finger's always resting on that spot.
Yeah.
So it's easy, which is why we made fun of Motorola for putting a fingerprint button in the front when you already have the spot.
I hate that fingerprint scanner.
I mean, like, it's so counterintuitive, right? The Motorola has a dimple at the back, and yet this fingerprint sensor in the front of the device makes no entirely. So,
and that it's not a home button.
Yeah.
That just drives me crazy. I can't handle Moto's decision there, and for being such good phones, because I have to handle so many other devices.
All right, let's go back to the LG. You were saying something, Sam, about LG.
Oh no, I was just saying the fact that it doesn't have an 835 just means that I am not going to be looking forward to this device at all.
I wonder if you scan a different finger.
That's true. You can't really scan a different finger, but
you
yeah,
scan different fingers. So if you're in your left hand, you might scan your instead of your index, your middle finger, and it falls right into the same sensor spot. Maybe it's just a change of finger.
Any finger from the left side is still going to be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, it'll take some adjusting, just like you had to adjust from it being in the rear. It's gonna be a little bit easier to adjust. It was a little easier to adjust to a rear center, but it was also still an adjustment to hold your phone this way so you put your thumb down in the right spot in a very awkward position. So that'll be interesting. Maybe you get different dynamics of how people hold their phones, realizing they can scan different fingers and different grips and such. It'll be interesting.
Now I'm wondering, where's the fingerprint scanner on the LG?
They don't have one.
It's at the back. It's at the back.
Probably at the back. It's the same place it's always been.
Same place where the V20 had his stuff. Board Femme says she prefers the fingerprint sensor on the back of the
Board
device.
Femme has excellent taste. I mean, I've said it before. I'll say it again. She's on point.
Stop trying to brown
It's
nose.
those pink eyes. Those pink eyes just make her so brilliant. So
Trying to brown nose.
Why isn't she joining the hangout? I know she's been invited.
I mean, she will. We will have Board Femme. You know, we have Board Femme here next week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So since
he's cribbing notes right now on like, this is what pisses off Juan, so I can get under his skin, and this is what gets Sam. So
more like she's taking names of people who don't say nice things about her.
Richie says maybe Samsung put an iris scanner in the front. There's an iris scanner in the front.
There is an iris scanner.
That's why you have three. It looks like three camera modules, but it's literally, you know, two scanners and one camera.
Yeah, funny that the only phone out now with it isn't even in America, and that's the Honor Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
So, I mean, G6, I'm actually not too torn up about the Qualcomm 821 because I'm still hoping that LG will be playing the price game, you know, where G-series phones tend to undercut Galaxy S's. I guess like I think Warren really nailed it though, that it kind of doesn't matter. It kind of doesn't matter if LG puts out a good phone or an excellent phone or targets a specific demographic. I think I'm very afraid that this phone's going to be announced. This phone is going to launch, and then we're all going to have the same conversation after that phone launches about how it's good, but no one knows about it or no one cares, and their ads for it suck and their outreach for it sucks. And why should we spend a significant amount of time trying to discuss the phone when I can guarantee you that if I do 5 days of camera and audio and unboxing and reviews and comparisons, that it's going to get a quarter of the views or a tenth of the views that I'll get on an iPhone.
Or are you peeling the plastic off of the Samsung phone?
Exactly.
Just the plastic, 30
Just
seconds.
the plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Or reviewing that damn sweet potato.
Stop saying that, because I would like to have something surprising for April.
Nice.
Hey, I like sweet potatoes. I want to know a review on it.
I too enjoy sweet potatoes, and I feel I will have to discuss that.
The next topic. So the new head of the FCC has done something positive, even though we are still afraid of him rolling back a lot of things. He just approved 170 million for broadband rollout in New York. This is for municipal broadband rollouts.
Oh my God, you're gonna get fast internet.
This is for the state of New York, not necessarily New York City.
It's more about getting connection to areas that wouldn't currently have broadband.
Yeah,
and speeding up the connection.
Well, this falls into the local rhetoric of economic opportunities and job creations. According to him, he said broadband is critical for economic opportunities and job creations. So, of course, spending money on infrastructure would make sense in this case. The only thing we'll just have to see how he deals with couple of things on this plate, like the AT&T merger. Now there's a proposed merger between Verizon and somebody else.
This week. Verizon and Charter, I believe.
Yeah.
That's being fought against. Actually, I think it's. I think the last person to pose a question, I think, was Al Franken, who said they have to prove that how this is better for consumers.
Imagine if Verizon buys Charter. All you're going to do is see a Salt Bay means of Verizon doing this right on Comcast's head. They'd have the biggest right. As much as we give them crap, they'd have the biggest right to complain the entire time about it.
Comcast would, because Comcast went through a whole lot of procedures to try and get that. They were willing to lose some markets to get that.
And AT&T is going to come by and know how you feel.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But it's good to see at least that there's some positive aspects here in terms of broadband rollout in New York. And hopefully that applies to more places around the country with the new head of the FCC. All right, moving on to Microsoft. So Microsoft had a good week, and also this should have been the uselessness, but I didn't put it because there were other more important things. But also they had a week of uselessness because last week they were going to lay off 700 employees. And one of the employees is somebody who we saw the last 2 years at Microsoft press events. His name is Brian Roper. He's the guy with the, he wears the same hat that Juan wears.
He's Juan's hat twin.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. Yeah, I call him the chubby Juan, but hey, that's just me.
The chubby Juan?
Chubby Juan.
The chubby Juan.
I get it, because my name sounds like the number one.
So this is Brian. Brian was let go from Microsoft, and he was one of their two best presenters. It's literally him and Panos.
Yep,
that's it. These are the two people who were able to push excitement. And he talked about email. The first time he came out, basic feature, and we're like, this guy is a really good presenter, and he was one of the people let go last week. But this kind of coincides with some of the positive news with Microsoft, because Microsoft announced the financials, they beat every single estimate, but because their server-side division, especially with cloud services, was doing very, very well and is catching up with Amazon. So this probably is lending credence to our very favorite CEO, which we like to complain about, and how that side of the business is doing well compared to the consumer side, which they have let go. Windows Phone fell below 1 million units for the last quarter. And mind you,
there was 1 million units?
Fell below. Mind you, just to put in perspective, Samsung sold 90 million devices last quarter. I think Huawei, as I'm not mistaken, posted 18 million units last quarter. So you can just see the divide and breakdown there in terms of how they're doing on the consumer side of things. And also Xbox sales were kind of lower than expected in general. So how do you guys put all this together? I just have to run quickly, but how do you guys put everything together? I'll start off with you, Juan.
Oh man, what you guys start off with?
Okay. Warren, go ahead.
No, not it.
What? Damn it! What did he do? He just fludged a pass on, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, I guess I'll start it off here. Well, I would say I lost my train of thought. That's great. Oh, well, Microsoft. As far as Microsoft's concerned, I mean, the cloud, you hire a cloud guy as a CEO and you expect, the cloud stuff's doing great. Kind of boned people mostly on that, but the cloud stuff's doing great. It's awesome. And all the other divisions are lacking behind. It's not really shocking. Hardware is not a thing to that guy. He views it as a disadvantage, and it's something that they have to spend money on versus something that can make money or extend services. God, there's one company out here that's made so much money off their services by selling, nice hardware. What company is that? What is the one company that basically did that? I think it's a fruit.
Adafruit? Yeah, Adafruit has really great hardware, man.
And then another company that was all about services pushed more of their services by offering what? Hardware, and not just theirs, but everyone's. They actually pulled the Microsoft. Let's make an operating system that works for all, and we don't care what hardware you put it on. And they're going completely backwards and from what they were before into this weird. We really just kind of want to be business and services, buy Office. So we'll kill one. I'm surprised OneDrive is still around. Why haven't they just call it Office? Why haven't they just call it Office Drive? Kill the brand, kick everyone out, kick all the freeloaders off that you don't want to have on there, and let them go someplace else, and move on from it. But the Surface brand really, I think, exists because there's so many businesses that do buy into it, because it's one of the better PCs out there that you can buy. So I understand why that's still in its existence, but in the Microsoft, I mean, the Xbox deal, it underperformed. No, it underperformed 3% than what they expected, but it was better than the year prior. But I'm like, what did you guys expect? You started off behind, screwed up the entire launch as best you could,
and still managed to show improvement.
Somehow,
like again, Microsoft still manages to succeed despite itself.
Yeah, it really does have such a large portion of the prosumer work of basic professional and consumer mindset that right now is just coasting on that.
No, I mean, yes, it is. Sorry, I'm interjecting and not knowing exactly what you guys are talking about. But to Sam's point of being prosumer, we've always said this. They're leaving so many things so much off the table by not hitting the consumer market. And I will point back to the fact that their largest competitor in the space, who has the most amount of money in the bank, did not make that from businesses. It's just a very simple product. And they have products that they can push.
Not to interrupt you. I talked about that company that sold hardware to push their services, to put $1 billion in their bank account. It's like a fruit.
Adafruit, right? Raspberries on the vine?
Yeah.
Pineapple.
Oh, it was Raspberry Pi.
Oh, yes. Raspberry Pi.
Pineapple. Yeah. It's like the pineapple laptops you see in Digimon. That's who it is.
but just the fact
I now have that theme song stuck in my head.
Oh my God, no. Just the fact that they still are not focusing on the consumer aspect of things. And Nadal had a couple of tours this week, or at least interviews this week, talking about how the consumer side is growing, and it looks like they're trying to effectively kill.
Why you always lying? Why you always lying?
Trying to effectively kill off that consumer side of the company. We've said this before. I think personally that they need a new CEO and a new path. I'm not saying they shouldn't continue on the server side of things. That is great, but they're also neglecting other things. This is the second or third year now we've had HoloLens. HoloLens sold in the thousands. Granted, it's 3,000, but they have not done anything to show us a consumer level approach, which they do not want to do on HoloLens. Neither have they shown us anything on HoloLens with a partner. So I get it, HoloLens, you might want to keep it as a prosumer tool, but this is where you go. If you don't want to make a HoloLens product, you can sit down with a couple of partners and say, here are consumer level HoloLens products from HP, Dell, Lenovo, all these people at $500. And this will give you a glimpse of what HoloLens is. And this is why we want to do AR, VR, mesh, right?
All it's meant for is for you to go inside of a Gap and put some glasses on and see the clothes virtually on you in front of a mannequin. That's what they want to sell HoloLens for.
Well, that's kind of, did you guys see because wasn't that a part of the AR the Zenfone AR presentation.
Yeah, we were there for that.
Yeah.
Boring, but
yeah. So I mean,
boring.
that's what was actually kind of frustrating was the imagination. If that's the way we're gonna pitch AR, like there's nothing there that's really gonna capture the
Here's a
imagination.
size 0. Here's a size 2. Here's
of
this.
the public.
Oh dear God, is this a creator player?
Because those kinds of services already kind of exist where you can take a selfie and then have an app try and fit clothes on your selfie. Like that's not science fiction. That's science now. We already have that.
It's called virtual creator player. I do that in
Right.
WWE 2K. Are you doing the 2K games? You create a player in that. I want you to do that on my
every single 2K game.
Yeah.
But when you see some of those demos, like some of the action combat games that they were toying around with HoloLens, the potential for AR is a lot broader. And then even just doing silly things like I've got that Lenovo Fab 2 over there, and like I really did use that to measure for bookcases. And it was really easy and it was really fast. It was faster and almost as accurate as just pulling out a tape measure for us to be able to get some IKEA furniture. Like that was awesome. You know, there's that practical benefit where we could be talking about this stuff in a far more grown-up fashion. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like Microsoft. Again, Microsoft's biggest problem. HoloLens is going to be cool. We know it's going to be bleeding edge tech, and they have no strategy to get it into the hands of consumers or any way to relate to consumers or communicate with consumers why they should want to partake in the future AR world.
And they will leave it for Apple to come in and swoop that.
I think it's going to be Google's game. I really
VR? No, Facebook's going to eat everybody's lunch.
No. I say AR.
AR will be a Google game. AR will be Google's game.
I think Facebook is eventually going to figure out their VR strategy with an overall platform that's beyond just gaming. Yeah. And I think Google is going to figure out AR the same way.
It'll be called the Oasis. This has already been written in a book already, and it's pretty much going to happen.
It's going to be called the Oasis. Speaking of net neutrality, going back again, new article on the FCC chairman introducing plans to scale back net neutrality transparency rules. This was on The Verge. Basically, companies who have service providers who have fewer than 250,000 subscribers are not bound by transparency requirements. So there will be limitations to that. So the downside of this is that you will have larger companies pocket-size different regions as a smaller carrier brand, and therefore giving them some room to, not showcase some of their net neutrality negative moves. So
that's nifty.
Hold on, explain that again.
So basically, any company that has 250,000 subscribers or less, actually less than 250,000 subscribers, is not allowed, is not bound by the transparency requirements of net neutrality. So you don't have to necessarily show anything.
The problem with that rule is that anyone that's that small is a part of MVNO and already has to follow the carrier's restrictions anyways. Mm-hmm. So it's almost that's kind of a moot point rule. It's down to the carrier. It's down. The carrier can't allow, like the carrier can say, well, we have certain restrictions on neutrality, such as T-Mobile's HD video, sort of premium, whatever thing. They can have it. They can say that the MVNO, the borrower network, has to follow the same rules, but they can also open it up for the MVNO to not have to follow that same rule.
I mean, yeah, true. But the other problem you face is that since you don't have to show anything, you can do other things in there that even though you abide to certain things that the larger carrier abides to, but the other things that you don't do that you don't have to tell or show. So
the only thing I say that's weird about that is that anyone that small as an MVNO and only has certain control over what they can put over on a company's on a company's network, on already what Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, Sprint have already built on the network. So I guess what I'm trying to understand is, like, I understand what the rule is and how it applies, but I don't understand why it exists, considering that the folks that are at this size, which is going to be a lot growing. There's going to be a lot of companies growing like this because people are looking for reduced cost wireless services. It's simpler, but I don't see where this rule in place of them affects anything when it's the big boys have all the control anyways.
I mean, I do agree, but it's, you know, it's a loophole created so that when they need to take advantage of the loophole,
it's a loophole.
So that's just literally what it is. So there may not be any effect now until later on where we find out that some company through its MVNO is doing something.
Yeah.
You know, so you just never know. And finally, Sprint bought 33% of Tidal.
And moving on.
Yep. Well, thoughts, Jay-Z.
Warren beat me to the punch.
Well, true. Yeah.
No. I know. The funny thing is, I caught one of my friends on Facebook saying, you know, I love being able to stream music. I'm using Tidal. You could not have seen. You should have seen the Facebook post I put down explaining why Tidal sucks and everything else under the sun. And it sounded like I was a salesman for Google Play. It literally does. When he said I use Tidal, I was like, just had this look like. What?
Yeah, it's more expensive.
Sorry, Tidal. It's more expensive, and it doesn't benefit anything. It's
even
just
the
like,
worst tier is more expensive.
Yeah,
Google
Play.
Google Play.
Yeah,
I think it's what $14.99 for the lowest tier, or the $14.99 tier gets you access to the damn premium sounding quality.
No, I think that's $20 a month.
$20. Okay, $20 a month for the lossless quality. For $14, you can get Google Play family access up to 6 people. Yeah. And that all includes YouTube Red as well, too. So you get ad-free YouTube, you get background offline play, you can use YouTube music app, so you have 2 places you can grab music from. So you got one place that has the proper library, and the other place that pretty much where you can get all your mixtapes and independent music from, which would be YouTube Music. And even Spotify is a better deal than that.
Oh God, even Amazon is a better deal.
Yeah,
Amazon Music.
Geez, I don't understand Tidal's existence. I honestly don't. Other than rich musicians and rich CEOs trying to make money off of higher profile. In other words, all the big artists that used to make that already have their money and want to continue to try to make money off of their albums and off of their big stuff, and they can pull this exclusivity bullshit all together to put all their stuff over here. Yeah. And they've now found out 2 years later, nobody gives a fuck. They'll just wait to bootleg you. Well, or they'll wait to show up someplace else.
But the idea that the artist now becomes a part owner in the distribution chain, that's actually pretty cool.
You can do that in Google Play.
Yeah, it's a bad implementation.
Little Dicky did that. The idea the Rapper did that. Yep. You can independently push your own stuff anyway. So, like, to tell me that the artists have control over it, no. They're the artist is label, artist is handlers.
Part owner of the distribution chain. That's very different. Like, if they sell Tidal right now, all the artist owners get a piece of it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's very different than if Google decides to spin off and sell Google Play. None of the artists are getting a piece of that. So,
but in the end, they're getting a piece of the distribution model, which is what you're saying, which makes sense. But at the same time, what the hell does the artist have to do with the distribution model?
No, I mean,
put that stuff up and push it out.
The main problem with this, there is a difference though, just because of buying power. To me, Tidal could have easily worked and could have been more relevant if it wasn't just a play by all the major musicians. If it was, okay, fine.
It just came off bad.
Yeah, if we know Jay-Z started Tidal and Jay-Z says I own 33% of Tidal and everybody else we split, and he keeps downsizing a little bit, as you add musicians, you get a percentage share into the company, then it becomes something where truly I would go, fine, I'll go to Tidal because I really know that everyone owns a piece of Tidal. Doesn't matter if I I'm sure they'll have a requirement to say, look, you have to drop a full album. It can't just be one track and you're gonna get a percentage. But you drop a full album, you will get some part, maybe even 0.5%, and then as you grow, you can get up to 1% or 2%, whatever the case may be. That would have made more sense, but they never came out clearly to say, "Hey, guys, this is what we're doing." We kind of just saw it as Jay-Z and friends, right?
Yeah, making this play. Hey, we're gonna release all albums exclusively here on Tidal and block it from everywhere else. I can't believe artists still do that and think that it works. I can't believe that they do and they think that works, and it's just been proven over and over again it doesn't work. Like 2 artists, like Taylor Swift and what's her name, Adele, pulled that with not releasing digitally at first, so exclusively to iTunes, not on streaming services, and was able to push physical album sales, of old ass archaic way of doing shit. and so they could slap a double album or whatever the hell, triple platinum, triple platinum, double platinum, quadruple platinum names next to whatever they sell and do, so they could put that on the tours. Granted, nobody gives a flying fuck about those numbers anymore, but that's what they did. They had one shot and they took it. Now I'd love to see them all try this again. And find out that people will tell them no.
But I think, again, the problem goes back to the basis of Tidal. I think then if they had come out clearly and made it that way, and they said there was a 2-week way to go to anything else, I think you still have seen people jump on Tidal not because of the necessarily, and the pricing structure needed to change too. But I'm saying if it was really clear that this was a musician's hub, I would rather pay for a musician's hub. Like, I don't have any streaming service. I don't use any. I don't like streaming services. But I will pay for a musician streaming service because, fine, I'm supporting the musician.
Going directly to the musician.
Yeah, it's going directly to them. But if it was truly that
wouldn't even been totally true.
I think MT has the best. This is something I was actually going to say as well, which is basically SoundCloud would have been a game changer, right? If Tidal had gone to SoundCloud and basically, told SoundCloud, like, hey, you guys have a bunch of artists who are releasing a bunch of stuff on either with no production whatsoever, or with very low production costs, or with no support whatsoever. We'll buy SoundCloud, and all the artists on SoundCloud get a piece of the business. End of story. That would have been like, you'd have seen that's like grassroots right there. That's
if you've done
all the grassroots artists right there.
I'm really surprised with, like, not to interrupt you, but I think that's a great idea for SoundCloud. I'm really surprised when Google said they were getting their skin in the game in the music business, that a bunch of these artists didn't get together and said, wait a minute, this billion-dollar company is deciding to push something out here. Let's go over and hop over there, get a cut, make a deal, and make it work, because Google's not going to care, because they don't really give a damn about the actual money. They just want the data out of the whole thing. Well, so if that's all they want.
You keep forgetting the point. Musicians and money, how to manage, spend, or create is not the smartest combination on the planet.
Yeah, not at all.
So, there are few who do well because they have mindset. We can go back to how Michael Jackson shafted his friend Paul McCartney, but it was still a good business deal for buying Beatles records. They're not.
Yes, shafted, but in the end of the day, honestly, made sure a ton of artists made money by pulling the deal that he did. Honestly, saved a lot of artists' careers.
I know definitely.
Literally did.
Literally, when your boy tells you, do you think I should buy my records back? And you're like, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And then you go buy it, it's still called shafted.
Well, I think Paul McCartney is suing Sony now to get a hold of the
right. No, because in that deal he owned also Dolly Parton's rights, as well as a few other major musicians. I was like,
if you looked at when he made that, you're talking about that Sony ATV partnership. If you look at that whole thing, how many artists that he made money out of there? Off of those guys, and some of those artists at least were allowed to make some money off of their rights, which they weren't doing before. If he didn't do that, there'd be a lot of the music industry would be really fucked up right now.
I definitely agree. I'm just saying that even though it is true, but it's like saying Juan is like, hey, yo, E, man, I think I'll buy my rights. I was like, yeah, man, go ahead and do it. And then Monday,
I think I'm gonna buy your songs.
And Juan's like, really, man? What happened?
Why?
Well, you didn't just pay enough money, and I had no money to use.
Now, wasn't there a story a while back that SoundCloud was in danger of going under?
There was a story that they were going to go under, but I think that story, I really didn't follow that story. I think what happened was SoundCloud ended up putting feelers out to see who could buy it.
Oh, they got some other round of investors or something.
Yeah, but I don't think they got any buyers, so I think SoundCloud is still owned by one entity.
Yeah, they're still on a low. I think that's pretty much it. Right now, guys. Nothing else other than Alphabet posting some slightly lower profits because of higher taxes.
Yeah, but also they're making more money off of their moonshots or off of their non-Google and search advertising than they did last year.
Still not profitable, but
still not profitable, but they're making more money.
Yeah. So that's just it. Anything else we missed, guys, before we?
Oh, you can now access Alexa by saying computer, which is pretty cool.
Yes. Did you set it up for computer?
Yeah, I set it up on computer. So every time I say computer, I hear "Badoop."
Why can't I do it to my phone?
I need to change and Google needs to change Google Home too, man. Because I'm tired of saying "Okay, Google," man. Don't.
It doesn't like you, anyways.
No, I turned the volume down on mine. I'm just tired of saying, "Okay, Google."
It feels good when you go computer. What is the star date? It's like, this is so awesome.
You should just did you do your computer a damage report every day when you wake up?
I should do that.
Damage report.
I should use that as the key phrase that brings up all my news feed.
Yeah. Like, just have a news feed dedicated to that. Damage report.
All right. On that note, we get to the part of the show where we talk about what we have on our different channels currently and what to expect next week. So I'll start off with Mr. Juan Bagnell. What do you have on Pocket Now and also some Gadget Guy?
So Pocket Now, I just posted an editorials. I've already forgotten what I named it, but basically Android battery optimization sucks. And it makes me angry. And so posted a video about that. We have our review on the Huawei Fit. I'm going to be spending some time with another smartwatch next week. So hopefully I'll have that smartwatch story out next week. Still haven't found a good replacement for my Pebble, and that makes me cranky.
Does it start with a T?
It does start with a T. Mm-hmm. So I think you and me were probably on the same wavelength there. The editorial, though, was really funny because I said anything critical about Android, I was called a massive iOS fanboy a number of times.
Shame.
In the comments. And that always makes me funny. It always makes me laugh because I think it's funny when people defend a multi-billion-dollar smartphone industry because it's their friend, apparently. I don't know. All I know is that I want to see better battery optimization on Android. Then on Gadget Guy, I posted a short little video just talking about how almost everyone uses the Blue Yeti microphone incorrectly. So you can catch my whinging on about that. And then on Monday, I'm going to have a short editorial on tech and politics and net neutrality. So be on the lookout for that.
Rants, all rants.
All rants. I mean, the Gadget Guy channel might end up becoming sort of a tech and politics rant channel.
Some ranting guy.
We should talk about that, man, because I think that's like a really intersection of policy and and technology. Because technology right now is where everyone gets to experience a lot of policy, and they don't even realize that. Why can't you get a certain chip manufacturer in your device? Why does your device cost more? All this are links to policy. People suing each other. People suing to prevent companies from other countries from coming to the U.S. It's really interesting intersect there. I think you might have a good following for that.
All right.
So we'll see how that goes. And then also, I mean, I'll be extending invites to all you guys. If
someone said, quick steal the idea. So 2 days later,
I like your idea. I would do that too.
On Monday, it'd be like, we're talking about tech and politics right here.
Welcome to Boored Politics.
But also, again, it's something that, it's probably not completely appropriate for me to always be ranting on Pocket Now, just a very different kind of audience. And I'll definitely be extending invites to all you guys if there are topics that you guys want to cover or even debates that we want to have. Because I feel like also Counterpoint is going to be really important over the next couple of years where we're all confronted with ideas that maybe challenge our established worldview. Some of them will be, I think most of them will be terrible ideas, but some of them might actually have some merit. So it's worth having discussions.
Yes, definitely. Warren, how about you?
I don't have anything new up this week. It's been a pretty busy week with some other things going on and on always ranting on Facebook. Apparently, well, not ranting as much on Facebook, but I get into battleground. And I get into epic battles on Facebook. That sometimes I wish I can visually show people how this is going down in video. The lack of common sense. Next week, I plan to have a few different reviews up. We got a couple of blue phones I want to get my final review up on. A couple pair of headphones as well too, and hopefully a couple of other different networking devices.
All right, cool. Sam, I know your review isn't up.
It's not up. No, it's not up yet.
It's not going to be up for a while.
And don't even make it worse. Now it's getting compounded with having the braggy headphones.
Did they arrive?
They arrived. Actually, they probably were sitting there for a few days because I wasn't expecting them.
Are you going to take it with you?
No, I'm going to leave them here. I don't want to lose them. They're still in the box. I'm packing. I'm actually in the process of packing, so I don't want to.
Okay.
So I'll leave these here, and I'll probably have to do both of them when I get them.
All right.
Actually, I'm thinking of taking the Fit with me just so I can do the video while I'm traveling.
All right. Do you want to tease people what you're doing?
Well, let's put it this way: we are going to be making a trip to the other side of the wall, and you might see some toilets.
Not the wall, the world.
The other side of the world. We're not going beyond the wall. We are not going beyond the wall. We're either talking about Mexico or we're talking about the northern wall, and whatever.
And the White Walkers are coming.
But yeah, let's put it this way: we're going to be going to the other side of the world, and you might see a lot of photos or videos of the toilets swirling the other way or whatever. But you might also see videos of internet connections or internet speeds that totally blow your mind. So those are probably some of the videos you'll be seeing from me next week, as well as hopefully this thing here. I'm going to try to get this out to you guys next week, and we'll go from there.
All right, cool. On my end, we had a few videos this week. We're trying to, or at least I'm trying to go to a trend of fewer videos, just because I'm sorry, man, I can't be chugging out videos like that anymore, guys. It's too much work.
He needs a life. He really does need a life.
So the changing the formula and the algorithm on YouTube to prefer daily uploaded content doesn't work for smaller YouTubers. Shocking. I wonder who it works for.
Yeah.
It's a mystery, but not a very good one.
I put up my review of the Skagenhagen connected hybrid watch.
That's the worst name ever.
After Juan, it's Skagen. They name their watches to wherever they want to name them.
What is a Skagen?
What's a Skagen? Oh, my Skagen.
It just sounds like evil.
Like Kraken.
like someone's talking about Game of Thrones.
Sounds very Norse.
I was going to say, it sounds like a Danish company that makes watches.
Skagen, made by Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård. Or is it Stellan Skarsgård or Sarsgaard?
Sarsgaard, I think.
Sarsgaard. Okay, never mind. That joke would have worked better were I not a dumb American. Sorry.
Yeah. We also have our LG G6 leaks and rumors video, a review of the Blue Vivo XL2, which was running for about $99 for a day. It's actually a pretty good device.
10 minutes.
It sold out. It sold out immediately, like literally immediately.
Before most of our videos published talking about it.
People are like, I can't buy it. It says sold out. I was like, sorry, it is $99 and it performs better than $99. So of course it's sold out.
Oh, what company is this?
Blue.
Oh, nice.
Blue products. And then we had two headphone reviews. We had a Bang & Olufsen Play H9 review, it's a nice headset, and my Sennheiser PXC 550, which I dubbed the best Bluetooth headphone. And people are arguing there because you don't know anything. Let me just tell you again. The reason this is behind me, so I know better. I'm just going to put it out there. Simple.
Well, he's also a Bluetooth hater, so...
No, but that's why I said it's the best Bluetooth headphones. I don't mind. I stated
Bluetooth from you, it's a little.
It is the best
suspect
Bluetooth and noise canceling headphones. Bose, sorry. Sony, no. Backbeat Pro from Plantronics, no. This is the best all around. Simple. So go check it out.
All right. Did you try the Blue Satellites yet?
Yeah, I've tried the Blue Satellites. They also price higher. So, of course, that's a different category.
Oh, here we go. You can't claim it as best. You got to put best. You got to put a price tag next to it. Remember, I claimed the Jabra Moose is the best $99 headset. I kept it right. And it is.
Well, we'll see what the noise cancellation for that is, though, because this has the best balance of all, including battery life.
We'll see.
That's what I put my own caveat on. The best all around balance. Anyway, next week we have a sort of laser pointer for you. It's not really a laser pointer. I really can't talk about it, but it's a laser pointer and really isn't. So stay tuned for that. We'll have our first PC build of the year coming up next week. And
for you.
Do I look like I have a ghost builder?
I'm forever gonna make a reference to that, even though it's 2017.
Do I look like I hire people to build my PCs?
No, but we know somebody that does.
I mean, the person I could hire to build my PC is Sam, and he builds it better than me, and he takes more money. So no.
I charge only market rates here. Only market. Nah. I don't even have a time to build PCs.
At some point this year, I will do a PC build. Something will happen.
I'm actually thinking of building another PC, and this time I'm thinking of using, hard PVC pipes rather than the soft tubing I have.
Yeah, but let's not make it a long process like the last one.
It was like 3 motherboards all dying one after the other.
3 motherboards, water leak. I'm talking about anything.
The water leak was my fault. But
anything that could go wrong on Sam's build,
went wrong.
So it was one of those where I would just come by, I'm like, you need help? Sam's like, no, I got this. I'm like, all right, man, I'm just going to drink some alcohol here.
I have to say that the Surface during that time, the Surface really was my PC for like a good week or 2 weeks. So while I was building that and going through all that headache, the Surface was my go-to device. So
I need to do a new build at some point, because this build I have that I'm using now is 5 years old.
Yeah,
it's on point though.
Yeah, he's running an X39.
I'm surprised that you're running a 5-year-old PC, because that PC is pretty good. Like the fact that you can, wow,
it's a 3930K with a Sabertooth X79 board.
Yes, that's the benefit of running an X99 chipset. You have longevity, more than anything else.
Yeah, I definitely need to swap
64 gigs of RAM in it, and the only thing, the most I've actually changed in this has been the RAM. Like when I changed to 64 gigs of RAM probably like 3 years ago, and the PCIe's. That's the main thing I changed. I went from all SSDs to just all PCIe.
Are you on DDR4 or 3?
3.
Yeah, okay.
It's the only thing that was behind is the DDR memory. But then again,
you have a question from LGH Jutsma. He's basically asking if you're going to do anything interesting with your build, or is it something that your users can follow along with?
This one is a friend's build, so this is not like a crazy build. My buddy called me up and he wanted a PC, and he's like, well, you can build it and showcase it. So I'm showcasing his build, and the idea of the build is to build a baseline X99 PC that you can upgrade. That will cost you, I think the build is about maybe $1,002 or so. So basically like the lowest end X99 where you can eventually upgrade. So the chipset in here is the 6800K, which is not an X99 chipset, but will fit on an X99. I mean, it is an X99 chipset, but it's a K series that will fit on an X99 board. So if he wants to upgrade to like the 5960K that I have, or X that I have, and Juan, you have a 5930, right?
I have a 5820. Yeah, I'm on the lowest end of last year.
So if he wants to upgrade to any of those, he can just easily swap that out and upgrade his PC to an 8-core processor right off the bat, without changing his motherboard or going through that. So that's the idea of the build here. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it.
I'm waiting for them. I'm kind of waiting for them to release a 12-core fully out there processor that can double what I have now. They have a 10-core.
Yeah, but even the 10 to 12, they were saying that the difference you see from that to an 8-core is almost.
I'm pretty sure it's minimal. But see, that's my thing. I have 6. I'm going to 8, and I'm pretty sure that's not a big difference for me at that point. So I was like, well, if I double it, something. No,
I think you will, just because of the memory bandwidth you're getting going from the 39 to the 50, the 58 or 5000 series in terms of processor, and also you'll be using DDR4 RAM. So.
Yeah, I mean
the RAM would definitely.
What's the performance of a DDR3? Is it like 15-20%? Is that, or is it?
I thought it was 25, but
25%. Okay,
I could be wrong.
Okay, I mean I'll look into those things. The one thing I have changed a little more consistently has been the graphics card, but that's been mostly just for going from HD to 4K editing that you just need something better for those type of things.
Yeah. All right. At that point, I'll have to say goodbye, and we need to end the show because Windows just said I actually need to restart. Most likely,
You got
Windows
to
10.
it will probably restart on its own.
Yeah,
Mandela heard you.
back at it again, telling you when the restart.
Yeah, so I want to thank everyone for joining in the chat, as well as also people leaving comments and also listening to us on our podcast. Again, we are up on Google Play Podcasts. We have the links right here in the description of this video, so definitely check it out. Subscribe to the podcast if you want to listen to us later on the road, in the air, by sea, wherever you are. So thank you very much, guys. Definitely check out all the channels. You can follow Mr. Juan Bagnell at Some Gadget Guy. I was going to say at Pocket Now, but his videos are also on Pocket Now. You can follow him there, but you can also follow him personally on Some Gadget Guy, and check out his own personal channel, Some Gadget Guy, on YouTube. And then Mr. Warren Bowman at bw1.com. It is spelled out that way, ONEDOTCOM, and you can follow him on Twitter, as well as also subscribe to his channel on YouTube. And then Sam, aka Black Iron _man, you can follow him on Twitter. His videos are up on Bored at Work, and you can follow us on Bored at Work subscribe to us on YouTube, as well as follow us up on Twitter. It's all Bored at Work. And this is Thunder E saying thank you, and always enjoy your entertainment before this thing restarts.